Hi guys, welcome back to my amazing kitchen. And if you are new here, please don't forget to click on that subscribe button right now and join the amazing family today. In this video, we are cooking some amazingly delicious goat stew. This goat meat stew is finger-licking good. It is so easy to make with just a few ingredients, so come along and let's get started. I have here some goat meat which I have nicely cleaned and patted dry, and I'm using goat meat without skin, but with skin will work as well. To season my meat, I have here some ginger, star anise, cloves, calabash nutmeg, aniseed, spring onion, rosemary, and some onion. I will also use about 4 cans of these tomatoes, but any tomatoes will do, including fresh tomatoes. But as always, all the ingredients will be listed in the description box down below. So before anything else, I'm going to make a marinade with which I'm going to season my meat, and I'm going to do that by blending my ginger, my garlic, my onions, spring onions, and all my seasoning. I've added that to my blender, and I just added just a little bit of water to help the blade of my blender spin, so you don't want to use a lot of water. Now blend everything until a very smooth and thick paste is formed and your marinade is done. So to cut down on my cooking time today, I'll be using my pressure cooker to cook my meat because, as you know, goat meat is really tough and so it takes a lot of time to tenderize it. But with my pressure cooker, it will be done in just 13 minutes. But you can obviously do this on your stove if you don't have a pressure cooker. Now salt it to taste, and you want to be generous at this stage because you want it well seasoned and your stock is going to be flavorful. I have divided my marinade into 3, and I'm going to use 2 parts to season my meat and use the 1 part for my stew later. So now give it a good mix until every single goat's meat is covered in the marinade. So now in my pressure cooker it goes, and 13 minutes later we have this beautiful, juicy and cooked goat meat. It is fork tender, but it's not too soft that it is falling apart, and that's really important. It is cooked to the right texture. I'm going to transfer this into my colander and let it sit until it is well drained, and then we are going to proceed with the next step. In my cooking pot, I have added a little bit of oil, just enough to be able to fry my goat meat in. And the goat meat is already cooked, so we don't want to overcook it. We just want a bit of color on it. That's why I am not deep frying it. The best way and the fastest way to do this is by doing it in batches. And once you add it to your oil, you don't want to be turning it over and over again. You just leave it on one side for about 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and then you flip it, and it will give you the right caramelization. Just look at this. You just want a bit of a sear on it. Cook the other side also for about 3 to 4 minutes until it is also browned and has a very beautiful color. You can now proceed and take them out of the oil after everything is fried and set it aside for later. If you don't have a bigger pot like I'm using, you may have to do it in batches, because throwing everything in a smaller pan will not help you get the sear you are looking for. And I must confess, at this stage it was really difficult not to touch the meat. Okay, let me confess, I already ate 4 before I started. So don't try to be like me. In the same oil, you want to add your sliced onions and then saute this for about 3 minutes until the onions become very fragrant and very translucent. And then you add the 1 part of the marinade we reserved from the beginning and fry this with the onion for about 3 minutes. The oil we used in frying the meat is already infused with all the flavors from the meat, so it is the best oil to use as a base for your stew. It would be a waste to just throw it away. Next, I'm going to add 2 cubes of my seasoning blend, which is my paprika marinade, and I already shared the video some time ago. I'm going to link it down below. If you don't have it, you can use any seasoning of your choice. These are frozen, so I'm going to fry it until it is completely melted and proceed by adding my tomato paste. Now stir to loosen up your tomato paste and fry this for about 5 to 8 minutes. This will help to cut down on some of the acidity from your tomato paste and that extra sweetness that sometimes overtakes your stew. Be mindful to stir in between so it doesn't catch at the bottom. Now add 2 teaspoons of my homemade jollof seasoning, and I will link it somewhere if you haven't seen that video yet. Add a curry powder and my homemade all-purpose seasoning. I'm also adding nutmeg, grated nutmeg, but you can feel free to use any seasoning that you would like to have in your stew. Continue to fry this on low heat, making sure to stir in between so it doesn't catch at the bottom. Allow the spices to fry beautifully with the tomato paste without rushing the process, and it will make your stew very delicious. In the meantime, I have already blended my tomatoes and I'm going to add it to my base and cook this on low for about 40 minutes until the moisture in the tomato is mostly evaporated. It is important that you check on it from time to time to stir so it doesn't catch at the bottom, and it is going to splatter really bad, so you have to be very careful. Whilst it cooks, you will realize that the oil is gradually beginning to settle on top, and after 40 minutes it will be fully settled and the stew should coat the back of your spatula like this, and that would be the perfect time to add your stock. How much of the stock you add will depend on how stiff or loose you want your stew to be. Once you add your stock, you want to cook it for an additional 15 minutes until the oil resurfaces, and then go ahead and add your cooked meat. That is, if you haven't eaten all of them at this point. Adding the meat at this stage will help it cook together beautifully with the stew, and it will soak up all the flavors from the stew. Cook the meat with the stew together for about 15 to 20 minutes and we will be almost ready. After the meat is beautifully cooked in the stew for about 15 to 20 minutes, you want to taste and adjust your seasoning if necessary. Mine was so flavorful and perfect for my liking, it didn't need anything else because the base was very well flavored. If you prefer, you may also add some chopped onions or bell peppers, for that finishing touch, but I like to leave mine as plain as it is. And in the meantime, I have boiled some vegetable rice and turmeric rice with which I'm going to serve this delicious goat stew. And I tell you, the combination of the hot rice with that salad on the side together with this finger-licking goat stew, my goodness, it was a match made in heaven. I hope you are able to try or recreate this recipe at home and enjoy yourself some goodness. I have a recipe for the turmeric rice on the channel and I'm going to link it somewhere down below so you can check it out. So until I come your way next time with another amazingly delicious recipe, remember that cooking should always be fun and exciting. So cook this meal with love and see it radiate through the hearts of your family. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you in my next video. Bye.